Welcome to Andorks, the podcast where every week we'll analyze and scrutinize the Star Wars series Andor 7 minutes at a time. My name is Rusteen Honardoost.
And I'm Alex Wallenetz.
And today, for the very first time, we have our first guest on the podcast. Welcome, Micah McFarland.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. I'm very honored and excited to be the very first Andork.
The first and last guest we'll ever have. Yeah.
We have friends everywhere, and now one of them is here in the room with us
we should have
as
led
we
with
record.
That. We should have led with that as the intro.
Too late. We already did it.
Well, as an avid listener of the podcast every Sunday, it's an honor.
Wow, day one listener, you're too kind. My own wife doesn't even listen day one. Let's start by just talking about, what's your connection to Star Wars and Andor in particular?
Sure. So, like most millennials, I started with the original trilogy on VHS box set.
Oh, yeah.
So grew up playing those out over and over. And then
who fought first in those? I can't remember.
Those are the special editions,
the VHS box
VHSs?
set?
Or are they? Or actually, no. Those
they're
are
before
the
the special. Yes.
Yes.
Those are the ones I grew up on. Although I did go and see the special edition re-release in theaters of A New Hope with my dad. So that's also another core memory I have of Star Wars.
I just like that we have to reference what Star Wars they are based off of who shot first. It's the easiest way of referencing which version of it is.
Yeah, Han shoots first on the VHS. And yes, now I'm remembering that the VHS is the last remaining home video format that has that version on it, which George even says, like, if you want to watch that version, just go watch the VHS, as if that's, like, sufficient.
He's probably got, like, a whole stash of them somewhere.
Yeah, so he can burn them all, probably.
Oh, I mean, shout out the George Lucas podcast, the George Lucas Talk Show podcast.
Yes.
Anytime they have a live show and someone brings the original VHS, he breaks them with a hammer.
Amazing.
But yeah, so I did grow up with the original trilogy. I definitely remember Phantom Menace being a huge cultural moment. I was 9 years old, which is like the perfect age to have a Star Wars movie release at.
Yeah.
So
you were so excited to meet Joe Black. And then
I just like the soda cans, like all the different things you could collect. We had like a shared Linux computer that we used that we had this background of like the Anakin with the Darth Vader shadow, which is like the incredible poster.
One of the best posters of all time.
Yeah. So I was definitely super into Star Wars as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
It got a little less, like, I think Lord of the Rings supplanted it a bit as I grew up. My older brother has always been like a bigger Star Wars fan, so I kind of was like, well, that's more of his thing. Mm-hmm. Like, we did read the books. Like, I read some of the extended universe stuff, like the Kyle Katarn series and some of the Bounty Hunter stuff.
Okay.
But I've read none of them, and I'm proud of it.
Yeah, he refuses to touch the extended universe, even though I had to remind him Andor is a part of the EU, unfortunately.
Maybe I'll read that one.
But I am a little reticent to say that I'm like a hardcore Star Wars fan because I know hardcore Star Wars fans, and I am intimidated by them.
They can be very scary. I say, as most people I know, I am their hardcore Star Wars fan, and I take that responsibility. I take that responsibility very seriously to put a good face on the fandom whenever I can.
I feel like you're a good bridge to the real hardcore fans. Not to take anything away from you, but you're not editing Wikipedia, right?
I just made my first
edit
to Wikipedia because as we discussed on the Time Grappler episode, they did not accurately credit the Time Grappler in his Wikipedia page, so I had to fix it.
Wow.
So I'm becoming a Wikipedia editor. I actually haven't checked. Let's look.
Is there like a Wookiee talk where there's people debating on the back end about whether...
There probably is. Let's see. This will be worth it. Yeah, it's there, baby.
Whoa.
Let's go.
My edit
official Wikipedia editor in the room.
I deserve to be put in jail. I should not be allowed to edit Wikipedia.
not to date this episode, but did everyone just see that Elon Musk announced that he's doing his own Wikipedia now?
Great. Cool. It'll be...
It's too Wikipedia.
He should make his own Wikipedia. Well...
It's Grokpedia.
Wait, actually?
Yeah, it's Grokpedia.
Oh.
Fuck off.
Of course. Of course.
They're just gonna let, like, Grok write Wikipedia, and he's just gonna, like, plagiarize all of Wikipedia.
But he's going to get mad when it says things that are correct. He's going to be like, wait a second, we got to fix that. But yeah, so Star Wars.
Back to Star Wars.
Yeah, back to
I am a Last Jedi lover, defender.
We got 3 in the room today.
Good.
3 for 3.
We don't have to fight.
We might not be the hardest core Star Wars fans, but we are the hardest core Last Jedi fans. That is the...
But I definitely fell off more with Rise of Skywalker. That was like a very cynical version of Star Wars that I was not on board for, and I think it kind of soured me on a lot of the other stuff until Andor.
Yeah.
So Andor kind of like reignited some of that love for Star Wars. Of like, oh, you can make good Star Wars. Like it's legal. You can do that.
This is very well-trod territory for Star Wars podcasts, but it's felt like the question of who is Star Wars for is the thing.
It's for children.
It is for children, except here we are talking about a show about
adults can enjoy
the
things
rise
for children.
of fascism. This show is specifically not for children.
No.
I think, which is, I think...
Children enjoy pirate booty, adults enjoy pirate booty. Things to be for both.
It is for children, but we did go and see the Phantom Menace re-release in theaters, what was it, last year?
Yeah.
And there was a little kid in the theater, and she had to keep leaning over to her mom, being like, what's happening? What's going on? It's like, why are they talking about trade?
Why are they, just a little kid asking, like, why are they so racist?
These Nemoidians are kind of problematic, aren't they, Mom?
But I'm sure the kid loved Watto.
I can only assume.
Yeah.
Jumping up and down in her seat the whole time, every time Watto was on screen. How did you come to Andor? Did you find it? Did somebody tell you to watch it, or did you check it out on your own? What do you remember of that?
So, well, I remember when it was announced, and I remember a lot of people being like, who asked for this? Like, who needs a Cassian Andor origin story? Which is like the typical thing that people say whenever you announce anything. It's like, who wants this? Who asked?
Yeah.
Which is really everyone's way of saying, why aren't you buying my script? But then, like, yeah, I was probably one of those people that was like, I don't care about Cassian Andor. I imagine you might have been one of the first people. I feel like you saw some like early access version of it, didn't you?
Yeah, so leading up to Andor, they re-released Rogue One in IMAX, and they included a clip that was actually the scene that we're going to see today between Cassian and Luthen as a little teaser to Andor. And
it's funny that they chose this scene, not like an action-packed.
Well, it's this scene, and then it's also the shootout that happens in the next episode in part 4. And so that is when I saw that scene and I saw Andor talking about spitting in Imperial's food, I was like, wait a minute, there is something else going on here. And it was at that point that I started telling people like you, Micah, of I think this show might be onto something.
This might actually be good.
This show might actually, I think I can actually recommend, watching it, because for me, I am the Star Wars person for everybody, and which means I have set aside most other pop culture fandoms because I'm just like, I can't also deal with that. I can't keep up with Marvel. I will watch every Star Wars show that comes out. I'm not touching a single Marvel thing.
Somehow I've watched all of them.
You haven't watched all of them. Have you watched Ahsoka?
Oh, no, I've watched all the Marvel things.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So Alex is that Marvel guy.
I mean, I'm not proud of it.
No one should be. Being proud of these things is, I think, where fandom went wrong.
We should be ashamed.
Yes, absolutely. Society was better off.
Yeah, shame needs to come back.
But yeah, so I think you were probably one of the first people that was like, hey, this show is good. You should watch it. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll check it out. And I honestly don't think it was like, I definitely enjoyed the first couple of episodes, but it wasn't until this scene in this episode, the Luthen and Cassian scene that we're going to talk about, that it really clicked for me. Like, oh, this is what the show is doing. This is what it's about, and it's good.
Yeah. This is we've gotten like really great hints of the point of view of this show leading up to this moment, but I think it's here. This is the episode where we're going to really get to see what Andor's philosophy, because everything else we've seen is just him reacting to the world around him, of like the Primor security coming after him dealing with the family relationships that he has. It's only in this episode now that he finally gets a chance when talking to Luthen to say, like, this is what I believe in, this is what I fight for. And then Luthen is able to use that.
Are we getting into it, or are we?
I think we can start to
do we want to keep
get
talking
into it.
Star Wars lore?
Or do you want us to talk about your Star Wars lore?
We should talk about
I feel like we should disseminate that over the next 3 years in small dosage.
Little bits and pieces.
I'll quickly recount. I similarly remember growing up with the VHSs, the Return of the Jedi VHS with half of Yoda's face on it. Saw a lot of play in the Honardoost house. And then the prequels coming out were some of the biggest like movie events I remember having. And then those were coming out when I was in, like, the last one came out when I was in 8th grade of middle school. And I was a dork in 8th grade. I had a Time magazine subscription because I thought that would help me keep up with like world events. And I vividly remember...
You personally had a Time magazine, not your parents.
No, I asked my parents for a Time magazine subscription because I was a Daily Show kid. I love the Daily Show, so I want to like keep up with politics. That's like how I got to be the broken person I am today. And I remember in the aftermath of Revenge of the Sith, there was an article in Time magazine about how conservatives were mad at George Lucas because there's a read of that Palpatine is George W. Bush, and he set up a fake terrorist of General Grievous / Osama bin Laden to then institute war powers and take over the Republic. And I was like, whoa, I didn't see that. But it's kind of there. And I just vividly remember a cutout of Osama bin Laden's head next to a cutout of General Grievous's head. And I cannot find this article. I have tried. And I swear
you gotta
it's
find
real.
an archivist.
I gotta go to the Time magazine archive.
I think you need to recreate this article. You could just start another rumor.
I'll do it. I'll do that. So that was my, history of Star Wars. I always loved the political connections that Star Wars was able to have, but then I kind of fell off it until The Last Jedi really reawakened my love of Star Wars. And I saw Force Awakens, I would say 3 times in theaters. Just like I saw it twice myself, and then the third time was with my wife's grandparents when they were visiting. It's like, let's go to the movies. We'll see Star Wars. I didn't see Rogue One until like a month after it came out. I actually saw it on the day Carrie Fisher had her heart attack, which was very surreal to then see like de-aged her. I started crying when I saw it, which I was like, so I do still have some lingering Star Wars emotions here. But then, it was Last Jedi. I saw that like 6 times in theaters. I think aided. No, that was pre-Movie Pass. It was not Movie Pass aided. I paid with my hard-earned dollars to see it.
I think that was Movie Pass era already.
Was it? Okay.
I have a very distinct memory of seeing Rogue One in was it the Carroll Gardens Brooklyn movie theater? I can't remember now. I'm asking you as if you know.
I don't know.
But
Actually, it was. It was Movie Pass era because that was how I was able to do it.
Did it 6 times.
You could do it you could use Movie Pass at the Vista Theater, and I saw it a couple of times there. So, that's my journey through Star Wars. What about you, Al?
I mean, I think it's kind of matching up a lot. I was looking it up. I thought I was having like a weird fake memory, but not only did I watch the originals on VHS, there was the Ewok movie.
I never saw those until
which I'm looking at now.
recently.
Apparently, it was a 1980s cartoon that they recut into a movie that they released in the 90s.
Yes, it was like a TV movie.
Yes, which I cannot tell you I remember anything about it, but I have a distinct memory of renting those movies.
They are available on Disney Plus. I watched the first one recently. It's a beautiful transfer. They like weirdly are very beautiful movies for like TV show budget. But it's all just like little kids and Ewoks running around fighting the Empire.
When we're done, we'll be doing that one. Yeah.
God.
Yeah, no, I think similar thing. Like I had like a Han Solo figurine in my childhood bedroom, and like it was something that I liked, but I was also like I was a big anime manga kid. I had a lot of other interests, and yeah, I think I always enjoyed them and liked watching them. But yeah, I think Last Jedi sort of showed me what the whole thing was really possible, and that's where I really sort of locked in, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, it was a movie that introduced so many new ideas to Star Wars, and I think that is the thing that Andor has in common with it, that these are both shows that never rest on their laurels of just having the Star Wars brand attached to them.
It also, to me, Andor also like fulfilled something that I had wanted to see in Star Wars since I was a kid. Reading those bounty hunter books or the Kyle Katarn books was like there was always this like idea of like the seedy underbelly of the galaxy, or like you know the things we don't see in the movies, the day-to-day of people and the mechanics of how different things work. And I always I know that the George Lucas Underworld show or whatever it was supposed to be called was rumored for 1,000 years, but to me Andor felt like it was like the first thing to show me that side of Star Wars. And so it was new, but also it was something that felt like it was inevitable.
I was actually just doing research into that Underworld show recently, and they literally wrote 60 scripts, like third draft scripts of dark, violent, adult Star Wars show that bridges the gap between episodes 3 and 4, telling the story of, you know, the Emperor consolidating power and rebel forces, you know, rising up. So very much covering similar ground as Andor. The story of Rogue One actually comes from Underworld, where one of the writers was developing how did they make the Death Star as a potential storyline for Underworld. But then...
Wait, making the Death Star?
Yeah, like in Rogue One. They're making the Death Star.
I was going to bet that I don't know. That's not happening. I don't know that happens yet.
We're not doing the blank check bit. He keeps trying to make this happen, where we pretend like nothing outside of these 7 minutes, beyond these 7 minutes.
When it's funny, it's funny. When it's not funny, I don't do it.
It is usually pretty funny. But yeah, the Rogue One comes from a discarded episode of Underworld, and Andor is then really a lineage of that show. But the reason it didn't happen was because when Lucas made the Clone Wars, they produced that whole first season just independently, and then took it to like Cartoon Network and Disney and Nickelodeon and said, buy it, take it or leave it. Do you want a Star Wars cartoon or not? And Cartoon Network bought it. So they wanted to do the same thing with Underworld, except each episode of Underworld would have cost $40 million. And they could not figure out how to make it cheaper. And then at that point...
Please, someone help me. My TV show is dying.
Yeah, they with the technology at the time, they could not make it cheaper. And Lucas essentially just washed his hands of the whole thing and was like, fuck it, I'm just going to sell this to Disney and let it be their problem.
That alien budget must have been astronomical.
Yeah.
How much is Andor per episode?
Andor costs $26 million per ep.
And that's with inflation.
With
that's
inflation.
A bargain.
Yeah. I do think that's like total average. My understanding is season 1 costs more. So it could be something where season 1 episodes were a little higher than that.
Was that just COVID costs?
COVID costs. Although season 2 then had strike costs also.
Well, they usually, because they build sets in season 1 that they reuse, but I feel like this show probably doesn't reuse a lot of sets.
No, they do. When you're rewatching season 2 especially, you'll see that like everything in Gorman takes place on like one soundstage of the Gorman Plaza with like the shop around. So they're able to get like a whole season's worth of storyline there, all within one location. Similarly, Ferrix kind of it works the same way. And then you get like the Yavin base and stuff. So they were very economical about writing the show to fit the shifting needs of the streaming era. Starting with make the most expensive show possible, and then being like, you need to figure out how to get 4 seasons worth of story into one, or else you're not going to get any.
But to your point before, I think like Andor, when you first hear about it, seems like the worst version of Surf Dracula. Do you know the Surf Dracula tweet?
Yes.
You should recount it for anyone not on Twitter.
Yes, at Topher Florence. Back in the day, if you did a TV show called Surf Dracula, you'd see that fool surfing every week in new adventures. But in the streaming era, the entire first season got to be a long-ass flashback to how he got the surfboard until you finally get to see him surf for 5 minutes in the finale.
Yeah, Andor easily could have been that, and we're very lucky that it's not. With that, I think
are we finally
get
going
into
in? Yes.
it. I think we can dive into it. Because last when we left Cassian, the Primor security team landed on Ferrix and barged into Marva's home looking for Cassian, and they found him hiding in a warehouse, meeting with the mysterious Luthen as Cassian tries to sell off his stolen Starpath unit before it's too late.
And so right after that conversation, we go back to the city streets of Ferrix, and we see, is it Salmon?
Yeah.
So yeah, Salmon runs up to Bix. He tells her there's a bunch of corpos looking for Cassian. Bix is kind of overwhelmed. Then she starts to put the pieces together, and she sort of realizes that somebody ratted him out. Oh my God.
You can't forget this important line that Salmon runs in and says, "What in the name of Chob has he done this time?"
I can't believe I didn't know there was a second Chob has appeared on Andorks.
You haven't gotten to this. This episode is going to come out next week, but Chob's knob is some kind of like curse in the Star Wars universe.
It's brought up once.
It came up in the first episode. In episode 1 of Andor, in the scrapyard.
Is Chob a deity?
This is a great question. We don't know. I think so.
Everyone listening to this is now going to hear Chob's knob discussion twice.
It is a name used in phrases in the name of Chob and Chob's knob in 5 BBY. I am finding another area where I can add to Wikipedia. It does not reference Salmon saying,
Chob's knob.
What in the name of Chob has he done? It's only quoting Zorby from Andor. So I'm going to edit this and correct
No, it's
that.
not. It's in the appearances mentioned in Reckoning.
Mentioned, but it doesn't say Salmon. It should say it. Salmon deserves his credit for he was trying to make Chob happen.
On the Wikipedia, the top of the Wikipedia is, quote, "Ugh, Chob's knob. What was that? Prebon invokes Chob. Prebon invokes Chob."
Yeah.
That's my...
So I do think he's a deity of some kind. This is important.
Who has a huge knob.
Yeah, we spent some time discussing whether or not it's some kind of tree stump or is it like a reproductive organ?
Chob's packing heat.
It could be both.
It could be both. But yeah, Salmon runs in, warns Bix. What happens next?
Sorry, I got distracted with Chob. Bix goes to immediately find out where Cassian is. But Tim, in a perfect, I don't know if it's fully a split diopter shot. No, it's not. It's just a foreground, background shot. We just see Salmon and Bix blur out as Tim in the background turns into focus in a very funny, whoopsie.
Did I do
that? Did I do that? Yeah. Who, me?
Have you guys talked about Tim's name yet?
About how normal it is?
It's not a Star Wars name. I don't care how many M's you put on the end of this name.
We have discussed this.
Okay.
We have, but I want to hear your take.
No, you can't just put 2 M's on the end of Tim and say this is a Star Wars name.
You sure can.
No.
That's the way Star Wars names work. The number one thing I've realized looking at all these Star Wars names is just take a word with one consonant and add a second consonant on it, and it becomes a Star Wars name.
I think there's exceptions in grammar. There's exceptions to every rule. Tim is one of those exceptions. You can't use Tim in your sci-fi.
But he looks like a Tim, doesn't he? Like, you look at this fucking guy and like, yeah, Tim would narc on you if you were having
Is it a Tim
day.
the Enchanter joke of like, what's the most boring name we could possibly think of for a...
I do think he's supposed to be kind of boring and like he's the safe person for Bix to fall back to. And he knows that she's out of his league, and I think that's why he's, done this, and also why when Bix, calls him out, he just looks so full of shame. It's like so palpable on his face.
Well, he knows he
fucked up.
Yeah.
He looks over to Bix. He knows immediately what happened, even though he kind of wants to pretend it's something. He hopes it's something else.
And Bix is going to run off because she says, someone has to warn Andor. And I think that is a sign that Bix recognizes that Cassian's gotten to a place where his enemies outnumber his. Like, he doesn't have anybody else on his side who's going to be looking out. Although I think we're going to see later in the episode that she is wrong.
Cassian has a posse. 5'8", 200 pounds, has a posse. Yeah, no, Tim tells Bix that he can take care of himself, and Bix goes, "Who? How do you know who we're talking about?" And he's in deep shit.
Yeah, he really walked into it.
Yeah. Yeah, she immediately catches on that. She goes, "Did I ever tell you that Cassian was from Kenari?"
Which is a thing we speculated about. I forgot that, one, Bix knew about it, and two, that she would have told Tim about it. We were speculating about whether
it's a weird thing to like tell your lover in bed. Like, hey, my best friend ex-lover? He's from Kenari.
But they work together, like that's where their relationship began.
That's so weird thing to tell your...
I think it's normal. I've probably told Micah Alex is from New York, I
but
think
if
that's
Alex
normal.
is trying to hide the fact that he's from New York.
That's the thing.
Yes.
Bix did a bad job.
It would be the equivalent of people knowing that I was actually born in New Jersey, and it's a secret shame, which I guess is now public on a podcast. Yeah.
I could get you killed. Yeah, I in my preparation, which meant reading Reddit, I did see some people speculating about when would Bix have told him this. And this is like maybe Tim was like so jealous, she was just like, look, he's like, I know you're lying to me. She's like, fine, I'll tell you the truth. He's from Kenari.
Yeah, I could see it. I imagine...
He's nothing to be scared of. He's from Kenari.
Maybe Tim is also from Fest, and he was like, I've never seen this guy before.
Surely I would have heard about him. I know everyone on Fest. But Bix literally elbows him into the wall in a very scary... I mean, I would be very scared if Adriana Horna made that.
Yeah, this is a great scene for her. Also, she's really good in Splitsville.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if anyone saw, but
it's a great movie.
Hilarious.
Yeah, very funny. A very different character than she's playing here, and yeah, she's very scary. If she ever looked at me like that, I think I would just implode on the spot.
And it's kind of what happens to Tim.
But it's basically what Tim does.
It is, yeah.
But yeah, we end the scene with Salman asking, "What did you do? What did you do?
What did you do?
What did you do?" And Tim I say Tim runs after Bix, but before just Tim runs away and is never seen again.
Yeah, it's one thing to get that kind of dressing down from Bix, but then another thing to do it in public in front of other people. I mean, that's...
And I think he's also starting to realize, I think he's going to realize very soon that what he has done is going to have bigger repercussions than just for Andor. Because now these corpos have landed on Ferrix, and they're not just going to make it Andor's problem, it's now everybody's problem, which is what we start to see later in this episode. But first, do we have any last thoughts for Bix and Tim?
No aliens, nothing of note.
There's no little freaks. So.
No freaks in this one. After Bix runs out, we do return to Cassian and Luthen's meeting, with Cassian showing off the Starpath unit, and Luthen asks where he got it.
I was going to say, this scene feels like every interaction I've ever had with Facebook Marketplace. Like, where did you get this air conditioner unit? How do I know you're not scamming me?
That's how Luthen met Bix. It was on Facebook Marketplace. And then he sussed out that she is the real deal. And as, Luthen is asking all the questions a Facebook Marketplace buyer is wont to ask, Andor doesn't really have patience for it. But Luthen then says, there are three options of who this person in front of him is. Either you're an Imperial spy, you're fronting for the person I really want to speak to, or you're the thing itself. But Andor really only wants to talk about money, and so Luthen flashes a handful of chips to prove that he's serious.
It's so silly looking. Like it looks like he's just like flashing some credit cards, and it's.
I love it. I was like, I wish I could do that kind of dexterity movement.
This is what we lost when we got credit cards.
You could do it with 4 credit cards.
That's not as exciting.
It wouldn't be
though.
The sound wouldn't be as satisfying.
Exactly. It's like that hefty, it's basically like gold, you know? Like he may as well have like gold doubloons and be handing them out like a pirate king, you know?
No, that's a different show.
Yeah, it is.
That's Skeleton Crew,
which is also an underrated show. It is good. I love that show. I was not expecting to love it.
Jude Law's in that, right?
Yeah, Jude Law playing a great scumbag. Actually, he's like scumbag who has to take care of some kid, and it's actually very.
And most importantly, it has what if Martin Short from The Simpsons was an alien, and his name was Neil, and it's incredible.
If you don't think there's enough aliens in Andor, there are so many. Aliens.
I feel like they made up the budget of we have all these leftover aliens. We will put them in a different show.
Well, back to Andor. Before this isn't a Skeleton Crew podcast. This is an Andor podcast.
Oh, it'd be the Skeleton Crew.
What?
Wait, no. That's the name of the show.
That's just the name of the show.
No, like where did it? No.
We'd be like the Skeleton Dorks or something like that.
No, I'll get there.
We'll get there. But in the meantime,
what am I doing?
Put one more notch on. Alex wants to quit the podcast. Yeah. Luthen reveals that he knows how Bix gets her stolen goods for the rebellion, bribing quartermasters to leave valuables on the ship.
One of the coolest titles of quartermaster.
Quartermaster is a very cool title. I don't know what a quartermaster is.
It's the person usually on a ship responsible for maintaining all of the weapons and stuff.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, quartermasters, like on pirate ships, quartermasters were a big thing. Or I guess all ships.
So then she is like bribing the people who are directly responsible for these Imperial ships that are then getting sent down. I think that speaks to the level of rot that is already a part of the Empire, you know, this early into their reign.
No, they're a paper tiger that's already bending under the weight of its responsibility.
Well, when your entire empire is built on one crazy old man, he can't be everywhere at once.
No metaphor there.
There's... We're so lucky Trump doesn't have battle meditation, or else we'd be really fucked.
Why do you think his hands look so weird?
Okay. At this point, though, Luthen does say, you know, this star path you have is special. It was sealed on an Imperial naval base on Steergard, and and Andor says, you know, he got it himself, but Luthen, you know, wants to get more information. Andor doesn't want to give it, and he says, I'll give you another 1,000 credits to tell me how you got it. A few facts here. The first is that Steergard is an Imperial Navy training facility in Star Wars, which I think means, you know, there's a lot of fresh faces in there, which makes it easier for a new person to kind of waltz through undetected, and also means a lot of inexperienced personnel for Andor to manipulate. And then I do love how quickly Luthen throws 1,000 credits at Andor like it's nothing, and how his like eyes go wide of like another $1,000.
Well, it's especially funny because I know it's before this scene, but in the other scene, you know, he says something to the effect of like 40,000 credits. That's not that much.
He does say something like that. I think he's trying to say like, this thing's worth
exactly.
More than that.
But I'm saying he 2 minutes ago he was like 40,000 credits is nothing, and then Luthen throws 1,000 credit on top. And
as far as we can tell in my research, a credit is like $1.
Yeah, I think the reason his eyes go wide is that he doesn't think that the information of how he got the Starpath unit is worth that much. He's like, you'd really pay me $1,000 just for the story of how I got it? I think is the thing that
$1,000 just for this MacGuffin?
Yeah, like he's $1,000 for a flashback about how I got this MacGuffin that I'm here with. This scene is him piecing together that Luthen is not here for the Starpath unit. Luthen is here for Cassian. And he does not get the hint. Luthen makes it so clear at every point in this scene that I am here to meet you. And Cassian keeps saying, so take the Starpath unit and let me go.
Well, I think that's partly what Cassian's afraid of, because he knows he's a wanted man. He knows he's on the run. And I think the last thing in the world he wants is to be the target, is to be the thing that someone is coming looking for.
Yeah.
I'm curious if you guys think that like Luthen really wants to know, or is he just trying to get Cassian more involved in the conversation? Like, does Luthen?
I think he's trying to suss him out. I don't think he necessarily cares about that thing, but I think he wants to see how he logically gets through things. Of how easily are you going to tell me your secrets? Is also probably good. Like if Cassian was like, oh, I did this and did that, he'd be like, okay, you're a schmuck.
Right.
Yeah. It's a job interview.
Yeah.
He doesn't realize he's in a job interview right now. That, like, he knows that this is Cassian Andor. Like, he says, I don't know if you're the real thing, but he does. And so...
Well, I think all those questions Luthen was asking at the beginning is him giving voice to the questions that Cassian Andor is asking himself. Mm-hmm. I don't know who you are. Are you the Imperial spy? Are you or this person or that person? Yeah. And so I think Luthen preempted all of those questions by turning them on Cassian before Cassian could ask them himself.
Yeah, Luthen is somebody who has lived in the shadows for so long that he's really aware of how to be perceived in public, and he knows what to say to play whatever role he's playing at that moment. And I think you're totally right that that's what he's doing here at the beginning of this scene. And once, he buys the information out of Andor, Cassian kind of scoffs, and it says it like it's so simple. You just walk in like you belong. It doesn't take much more than that. All you need is a uniform, some dirty hands, and an Imperial toolkit. They're so proud of themselves, they don't even care. They're so fat and satisfied, they can't imagine it, that someone like me would ever get inside their house, walk their floors, spit in their food, take their gear. Like, he starts just answering the question, but then he starts getting caught up in the emotion of what it feels like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How good it feels to steal this Starpath unit. And that is when Luthen lights up.
I think the speech is sort of one of the major theses of the show.
Yeah.
Of just first of all, the Empire is just, like I said, a complete paper tiger that can be easily, all you need is some confidence to get yourself through this. But just that there is this growing resentment of, they don't even think of us as humans. They don't even think of us as somebody who could intrude in their world. There's this, he's not just mad at the Empire. He's mad they don't even respect the fact that they could possibly think that they could be stolen from.
Yeah. Luthen says Luthen's reply is, their arrogance is remarkable, isn't it? They don't even think about it. And yeah, like that exchange is the thesis of the show.
Well, and I love how it's, Luthen is so calm and cool and collected. His classic Luthen self that we will come to know throughout the show. But as soon as Cassian shows his true feelings, then Luthen feels like, yes, I found another person.
Yeah.
And you just see him like relishing the thought of taking these people down.
Yeah, he then launches into his own monologue about how, these days are going to come to an end. The way they laugh, the way they push through a crowd, the sound of that voice telling you to stop, to move, to go, to die. But they'll think about us soon enough they'll have something else to listen to. And throughout all this, Cassian is just kind of saying like, hey, what about my money though? Like, do you want to let me look at the money real quick? Like, yeah, Luthen gets to say the quiet part out loud that he's like held inside so much now that he's finally with somebody who he trusts. Which is lovely.
Yeah, I think this is something that I sort of need to do some more research on, but like, I feel like Luthen doesn't have a clear analog to historical figures that we know in these revolutions. Like, to his point, he is a hidden figure.
Yeah.
In the story, the people who do who take on these roles in political revolutions don't want to be known. They want to be working in the shadows. And I think for any revolution to work off, you need to have figures like this who do the grunt work and figure these things out in the background. But it's harder to sort of figure out what the inspirations for him was.
Yeah, totally. It feels very. I think the number one thing people kind of compare it to are these like John le Carré like spy novels of like the hidden spy master who has ears everywhere. There is a funny moment here where when Luthen says they don't even think about us, and Andor says, I don't even know you, Luthen replies, fair enough. It's like, of course, like, you don't know me. Nobody knows me. That's the whole point of why I'm able to do what I do. And yeah, at this point, Andor warns Luthen that he's not going to want to get caught with that Starpath unit. And Luthen offers what is kind of supposedly a hypothetical. What are they going to do? Take me up on Rick's Road and hang me up in the square? Isn't that where they hung your father? And that is when this scene really flips. That Cassian, who is just trying to get out of there, then pulls out his gun and points it at Luthen. And
I mean, it's got a real "what are you gonna do? Stab me?" Quote from the stab victim. Yeah.
But Luthen does not flinch once. Like, whenever Cassian has the gun in his face, as he pushes it up to his head, like, he has such determination throughout this whole sequence.
Yeah, whether or not he's had guns pulled on him in the past, he certainly thinks about it all the time. He is ready.
Mm-hmm. I think Luthen is... I don't think Luthen wants to die trying to get Cassian, but he clearly sees Cassian is worth going through all this trouble.
Well, I think that's something that the scene demonstrates really well, is that, like, for an authoritarian regime, people, like, individuals are not that important. Like, devotion is important, but, like, people are replaceable. But to the resistance, to Luthen, one person is worth risking his entire life to recruit. We also see later on in the show that life doesn't always have the same value.
Yeah, there's other people who are not as valuable.
Yes. But yeah, I just think that this scene demonstrates that very well.
Actually, I'm going to take back what I said, because I think if we're talking about like the situation of like Anton Krieger getting sacrificed to keep Lonnie's mole status, in place, Luthen actually does say that like his death is like the most valuable sacrifice that we could be making. So I do think actually Luthen does value every single life, even if he's willing to sacrifice them for the greater cause.
Yes, I think that like the context is different. But I do think that, like, for an authoritarian regime like the Empire, like, you are expendable because we can find someone behind you that's even more devoted than you, that wants your job more than you have.
And this is the thing that Cyril is butting up against. His whole thing is 2 Primor security officers were murdered. Like, that should matter. And his boss says, hey, let's just, cover it up, make it something mundane.
The same disregard that the same disregard that Andor found useful, that they didn't care to let him feel this thing. It's the same thing. They're like, I'll let it go. It's not.
Exactly.
Right.
So if anything...
Well, because Cyril wants to believe that you can make yourself invaluable, right? Like, that's his ultimate goal, is to be so important that he is valuable to the Empire.
Yes.
But he will learn there is no level of value you can attain to be that valuable to the Empire.
Yeah, at any moment you can be sacrificed.
Yes.
That is ultimately where his story ends, which we will get to in
several
2.5 years.
It's just a reminder of just the silliness of Star Wars, that we're talking about all these levels of like politics, and we're like, but the one guy at the top is like a zombie. Yeah.
And at any moment he can zap you with his lightning fingers. I do. If they had done the full 5 seasons, they did say Palpatine would have shown up at some point, and I do really wish we
were
could have
robbed.
Seen
that would have
Palpatine in the context of Andor. Would have been amazing.
Can you imagine Luthen v. Palpatine?
I just want Mon Mothma to have to go to like a dinner party and like play nice with Palpatine. It would be so funny.
Oh, you could do like a Frasier style farce of like comedy of errors with everybody. It's like Palpatine's birthday party. Everybody has to like talk in code.
Mon Mothma's got like a rebel meeting at the same time, and she's got to like jump back and forth between rooms.
It's a Mrs. Doubtfire?
Yeah. No, it's like she's got two conflicting events, and she has
that's a Mrs. Doubtfire.
Does that happen? I haven't seen Mrs. Doubtfire. When you say Mrs. Doubtfire, I'm imagining Mon Mothma has to dress up as an English butler woman. That is the primary thing that people think of when you say like Mrs. Doubtfire. It's like, yeah, Mon Mothma would actually lose custody of her kids and have to go undercover in makeup to get to spend time with them. Could have been, that would have also been a plot in season 4.
They're really dragging that show out. Sorry, the third act of Mrs. Doubtfire.
Back to this episode. Luthen's line about Andor's dad is, I think, a test to see how he responds. And it's also a way for Luthen to show Andor just how much he knows.
So, is this the first time we learned that his dad was executed?
Yes.
Okay.
We just know that we don't see him around, so
Clem,
we assume
right?
he's dead. Yeah, Clem, who we've seen in the flashbacks.
Right.
In this,
But we don't know that guy is going to be his adopted father.
Marva's his adopted mom. They're clearly a family unit,
Yeah.
I think it's clear.
Okay.
All of the literature I read and research said they were husband and wife. So
Yeah.
I don't know if the audience knows that yet. But I guess
Yeah,
We're
fair.
inferring.
Yeah, we're
it.
inferring.
Yeah, we'd have inferred it at this point. This line from Luthen is him coming clear about his real purpose for coming to Ferrix. That, I'll buy that Star Path unit, sure, but I'm here for something more. And seeing Andor's reaction to this reveal, he knows that he's found it, and he wants Andor to come with him. He knows that Andor's on the run for killing 2 corpos on Morlana 1, and says it would be a waste of talent to let them capture. Andor wants to know who he is, but Luthen says that's the wrong question. The right one is, how much time do we have to get out of here? And Andor really can't understand why this guy is here. And Luthen has a very simple answer. Don't you want to fight these bastards for real? And I think, and this is the second time that we've heard somebody call the Empire bastards, and the first time is Marva. And I think that is a pointed use of language, that his mother figure looks at the Empire that way, and now this new father figure has entered his life and has the same world. I think helps to endear Cassian to this guy.
I also just think that it's such a wonderful delivery. It's so much like humanity and pain and anger, and like there's just so much that Stellan Skarsgård puts into that line. To me, it's like one of the best lines of the whole show.
And Stellan is a great actor who will show up in any. It feels like he is in every franchise. He's in he'll be in any big budget movie. You watch like blockbusters from like the 90s and you'll see Stellan there as a bad guy, or it's maybe a good guy every once in a while. And this role really is like the perfect encapsulation of everything that he does well. That gruff gravitas mixed with something darker under the surface. Like the joke of
like his role in Mamma Mia.
Like his role in Mamma Mia, exactly. But like the joke of like in Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is like, of course this guy is the evil Nazi at the end of the movie. Like it's Stellan Skarsgård. He's like, just look at him. He looks so evil. And I think Andor is doing a great job of using how we kind of see Stellan on screen and giving him this amazing role to create.
I mean, he's such a fascinating figure. Like he seems almost too smart for the Star Wars universe. Like he's presenting a like analysis, understanding of how to manipulate people that we usually like. In order to manipulate people in the Star Wars universe, you have to like use the Force.
Yeah.
to convince people things. Like we're actually seeing someone convince somebody through logic, and
it's either the Force or love. Those are the only, and those are like, one and the same for the most part. But yeah, like this is a guy who uses a material analysis of the world to, recruit people, which is, and the fact that we haven't seen him before is a testament to how good he is at that he doesn't need to be out there, making speeches or whatever to get what he wants. He can come down and he can pull somebody who does not want to be a part of the rebellion into it just through a conversation.
Yeah, there was one more line that I thought was interesting. I think it might be jumping out of order because it might be in the next time we come back to this scene. But he's like telling Cassian, like, never carry anything you don't control. Like rule number 1, which I thought was like a very telling, like, is he talking about Cassian there? He's like, I'm bringing you with me because I know I can control you. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just a fun throwaway line, but that was something that I picked up on having watched this scene now like 10 times.
I think that's a great read of it. Like, we do see that whatever situation Luthen enters into, he is in full control of. And yeah, I think that's a great read. But that is in the next time we return. No, it's fine. But
before wrapping up, I want to just bring up this tiny little moment of when he says, "Don't you want to fight those bastards for real?" He finishes the sentence smiling, and then the last second turns into like disgust. Like he there's I don't even know what to describe that like performance as. It's just like even he can't bite. He's so sick of them that he can't even do the cool line of it. It's like, don't you want to do the bastards for real? Like
yeah. When Marva is talking about those Primor bastards, she has a similar contempt and venom in her voice, and we're seeing Luthen filled with the same animating emotion, and he is channeling it into this rebellion.
And in some good TV making, hard cut from "Don't you want these bastards" to a shot of Cyril and Moss.
Yes.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about the match cuts and the editing of this episode and how things tie together, and I do think that is a great example of one of like, don't you want to fight these bastards for real? Cut to
these
Cyril and Moss, these bastards. Yes. Don't we want to watch them get owned? And oh boy, are we going to get to see that.
Oh yeah, so we are back on. Is everything Rick's Road, or are we just assuming that
Rick's Road is a specific road? I don't think this is Rick's Road. Rick's Road is the big wide boulevard. This is more like the smaller street of Ferrix, I think.
Oh yeah, it's a side street off of.
This is like out by Salmon's Salyard.
Talking about street names, there's a town in Las Vegas or Nevada where they've run out of like generic street names.
Okay.
So like they've run out of flowers, they've run out of like famous people.
How many fucking streets do they have? How
They're
is
just
that
building
possible?
so much development. There is a like cul-de-sac where like 7 of the streets are named after Pokemon. There's like a Squirtle Street intersecting with like a Bulbasaur Avenue. It's incredible.
That's great.
That sounds like an excuse that somebody came up with to be able to name a street, Squirtle Street.
There's a million names out there. Start auctioning it off. Get a street named after you, pay the city $50.
Yeah, it's Squirtle Lane in Henderson, Nevada.
Wow.
Sorry, I just wanted to share that fun fact with people.
Thank you for sharing.
That is beautiful.
So we cut to Cyril and Moss.
This is Squirtle Lane.
On Squirtle Lane.
Squirtle Lane.
And then we see Salmon running to find his son, and then he starts banging.
Oh yeah.
They start banging in the middle of the street. Everyone's banging.
I love that they're just like, what's going on? It's like, obviously, they're sending a secret signal. They're banging on metal pipes.
Yeah, well,
I don't think it's a secret symbol. I think it is just like a danger.
Well, yes, it's
so Luthen
it's
asks what's going on,
yes.
And then we cut to the scrap yards where Brasso and his team are working, and one of the workers there says, it's the signal is what they call it.
I actually thought that was interesting again, a very small detail, but the fact that Luthen also did not know what it meant was kind of interesting to me, because like it is the sound of their rebellion on Ferrix, but the rebellion is so scattered and piecemeal and not really in communication with each other. Like, he knows so much about Cassian, he knows so much about probably Ferrix, but he didn't even know what the sound of rebellion is on that planet.
See, I think Luthen knows a lot about Cassian, but I don't think he knows a lot about Ferrix. For Luthen, the rebellion is something you do in the shadows. It's something you do alone. It's something you do in smoke-filled rooms.
Ferrix does not have the conditions to create revolution, but it has created Cassian.
Exactly.
Like there's not an economic incentive to make Ferrix the center of the revolution or
and then at the end of this season, Luthen starts to see Ferrix as a microcosm for what's happening everywhere in the galaxy, and I think here is an example of that, which is all of the people of Ferrix start banging on these scraps of metal that are hanging up all through the town, and
which is based off a Spanish.
There's a few things.
It's the cacerolazo.
Yeah, so I looked that up, and the main difference there is that cacerolazo is the practice of going out in protest and banging pots and pans as like a way to just make your protest loud. Whereas I think this is much more this is much more inspired by what the Irish would do during the Troubles, where particularly women would grab trash can lids and pots and pans and bang them to warn people that a British army raid was about to commence. There's a scene in the Daniel Day-Lewis movie In the Name of the Father where he's on the run from the British police, and as he's trying to like navigate around the tanks rolling through the streets looking for him, you see these women out on the streets banging pots and pans to signal where the police are so that then he can navigate around them. And that's what's happening here.
And also don't forget that this is a city, planet, whatever it is, that has the time grappler, who is the ultimate guy banging a piece of metal. Well, no, but it's like it is that is their means of communicating, whether it's when to get up in the morning or when there's danger afoot.
Yeah, exactly. And so this is an example of taking something from our real history and translating it into science fiction in a way that feels real. It does such a great job of communicating to us how dangerous the situation has now become, because we now have this cacophony of pots and pans going throughout the background of every scene from now on.
Yeah, any other sci-fi show, they would just be like, we're going to press the button, and then there's going to be the alert.
Whee!
Alert. Yeah. But
yeah.
no, it's the tactileness and the... It's what makes Star Wars, is that there is this lived-in fashion of... It's easier for us to just bang pots and pans and to have to figure out a convoluted alert system.
Yeah, it's great world building on the part of the show, that this is they are able to use their tools against the Empire in their own way.
Well, I think also just even like creatively, it adds tension where human beings are putting themselves in harm's way to send this signal rather than just clicking a button. They're standing in the streets banging on things while the corpos or officers or whatever they're called are walking past them.
Yeah.
It's also very funny if we just talk about the nature of commerce and revolution, that the first thing that we see as they're banging the pots and pans is Granick closing his business. Just like closing the door, like, oh God, the looters are coming, the rioters are coming. Yeah.
So we see shops all over the place, like throwing down their doors, which is, and then we see like kids being pulled into their houses, and everybody's kind of scrambling and running home while Primor walks through. Again, their blue suits just stand out in such contrast. Like, they could not have chosen a more different color to be wearing as they're going through the street.
You could imagine a cutaway to somebody in front of a giant sign that says like X days since protest and on Rick's Road, and have like sadly taking it down and putting it back to zero.
And It's funny because Mosk calls this intimidation bluff and bluster, but we can see clearly that this is like an organized and coordinated, if spontaneous, form of resistance. And in his arrogance, he doesn't see the pockets of fomenting that he claims to be so vigilant against. Like, it's right there in front of you, but they are so focused on Andor that they can't see everything that's happening around.
Well, it also kind of also reinforces what Andor was saying to Luthen about they're lazy. They don't, he doesn't want to see it. It's not just that he's not even looking for it. He's like, that's not my business.
Yeah, the situation has changed drastically. Like, the second they land on the planet, people are already mad at them, but they were already at a 10 and now they're at an 11. You know, like, it's...
They just saw them rough up at the sweet old lady down the
literally,
street. Yeah.
Yeah, they went in to the nicest old lady in town, tore up her house, and then they're like, they're not really mad. They're not going to do anything about it. And yeah, as the stores start to close up, we return to Andor is accusing Luthen of being a spy coming after him, because it's just so unbelievable for him to think that somebody would come for him who isn't a corpo trying to kill him. And which is very sad. It's very tragic that, like, Andor really thinks he's one person against the world right now. And Luthen comes in and says, special people are hard to find, which is also a very evocative phrase of, like, how many special people are thrown away by the Empire every single day around the galaxy. And Luthen has found one of them.
Well,
and if he can just save this one person, it'll make a difference. And
also, how many special people have Luthen found that he thought would be this role that have probably died?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That it's playing with the chosen one trope, but I think he's probably been through this before, where he's like, oh, I found the guy, and then that guy also failed in some way.
Yeah, exactly. He's got, we don't know how many Andors he's got out there. It does feel like every person he recruits, maybe he gives them some version of this. But he is right that, like, I do think he genuinely believes that special people are hard to find. And
well, because they are, and I think he's realistic, I think, in what he's looking for, and he knows that finding someone not only with Cassian's skill, but with Cassian's background and hatred of the Empire and willingness to put that into action, like, all of those things together probably is pretty rare.
Yeah. And this is something where Andor, being a prequel, Luthen has this role to play of, you are somebody who is destined for something greater, and Andor can't see that. And by letting Luthen be the voice of that in this first arc, we are then setting him up as this heroic character that the audience is going to buy into and want to listen to. And then the show is going to subvert that by using a powerful scene like this to get us on his side of, like, Luthen's right. Just listen to Luthen already and get out of there. And then as things are going to go on, we're going to ask, should he listen?
Scream at the screen. Don't go in there. Don't go in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just listen to him, you idiot.
Just listen to him.
But I also do think that part of it is also just a sales pitch. Like, Luthen knows how to manipulate Cassian into believing in the cause, even if
I mean, what is Luthen's day job?
That's true.
He sells things.
He sure does.
Yeah.
And I think that he is selling Cassian on the idea that Cassian does matter to the revolution, does matter to the rebellion, which is true. But I think Luthen also probably knows that, like, he's also just one person. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. It just like, I think he's threading a needle there of, he does believe Cassian's important. He did risk his life to come get him, but also he needs Cassian to believe that he's maybe the most important person to the rebellion.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. It's at this point that Luthen gets a call on his communication device and asks for Andor's permission to answer it. He asks Andor, do you want to die being careful? Which is his way of, like, getting Andor to trust in him a little bit. And he discovers Andor is carrying a comlink and takes it from him and smashes it. And this is where that line comes up. Rule number 1, don't carry anything you don't control. And so at this point in the scene, we see Luthen starting to give Andor commands, and now the two of them are working together. So we've had that flip in Cassian's perspective towards Luthen, that he is willing to listen to this guy. And that's when they see the corpos just outside the door and have them surrounded. So it's like, great job, you're listening to Luthen now, but now it's too late for you to get out of here.
I think there's a very funny moment where, like, it's hard to explain this, that, like, Luthen makes that badass line to Cassian, walks past Cassian, then there is a gunshot going off, and the face that he makes is like, oh shit. Like, he's if you look really close, like, Cassian does not see that face, but he is like, like, for a second, it's like, oh shit, he's actually scared of there being a sound going off.
Oh, you mean when the blaster
Yes.
fire? Well, that's the next episode. We're not there yet.
I thought that was the end of the scene.
No. That's part 4.
Delete all
or
of
part
this.
5.
Delete all of
maybe.
this.
Just getting a head start.
Yeah. No, because we then cut to Bix running through the streets, and she ends up running right into the Blues. And where
No, you're wrong. I'm correct.
There's no gunshots.
There's like a blaster going off. What is that
There's
noise?
no. Oh, like in the background.
Yeah, I guess it's the metal thing that he's scared of, but he hears that.
Well, it's the Primor security outside the windows.
Yes, but he makes a face of like, oh shit, what the fuck is that?
And he then pulls out his own gun, which he's had this whole time.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, you said blaster shot, so I thought it was something different.
Various noise.
It's okay. I'm sorry for doubting.
Thank you. Not the first time.
He is the Star Wars expert.
I'm not the Star Wars expert. He's the Star Wars expert.
I'm the spreadsheet expert, and so I just have all the time codes here. Do we have any thoughts on this sequence here before we get to Bick?
No, I think this is a scene that you sell somebody on Andor with.
Yeah. Which again, like, this is the scene that they sold Andor with.
Yeah.
Like, this sequence, and then it was, if I'm remembering right, it was like this scene, and then they edit it in a way for the Primor security to then just come in at that point, and then you get the shootout, which I do think is a kind of tacit admission on the part of Disney that, like, this show has a lot of talking, but don't worry, they're shooting
We still
too.
have blasters.
They will have blasters, we promise. And I do think the show is generally good at giving us those things, but I know for me, it was the talking that got me like invested in this show.
But you care more about the blasters when you care about the talking.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's the number one thing that so many storytellers do not understand.
Yes.
Is that it doesn't matter how cool the shooting is or the fights are if I don't give a shit about anybody.
Yes.
That's like the number one thing I don't understand how people did not get from John Wick is that dog was really fucking cute.
Yeah.
That dog was so cute. They got the cutest fucking dog that's ever existed, and then they killed it. So at that point, you want to see those fights happen. You built an entire blockbuster franchise off of one dead dog.
Yeah, that was the biggest problem with Ballerina. There was no dog.
Yeah, no, they could have given Ana de Armas a cute cat.
A cat? Yeah, that's the easiest way in.
Even a bird, a guinea pig,
Iguana.
a turtle, an iguana. Well, back on Ferrix, we cut from the corpos outside to Bix running through the streets of Ferrix, and she ends up running right into a pack of Blues. Everybody else is running past them, but she's the only one who sees them, stops, and turns around, and that is enough cause for them to arrest her.
And some real cliche cop of, hey, I love that girl. Yeah, like...
Yeah, he's like, you look scared.
Not running home, are we?
Yeah, it's like, you look scared. I'm like, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Everyone does.
Don't you hear all this stuff going on around us? Meanwhile, the East team asks Mosk if they can engage Cassian, but he tells them to hold the perimeter until they get there, and he declares that it's time to close the snake. We then cut back to Cassian asking, why aren't they coming in? Why aren't we in the middle of a shootout right now? And Luthen says he knows that they're waiting for reinforcements, and he asks Andor, how are they going to get out of here? And we are going to find that out next week, because that is the end of this 7-minute chunk of Andor. Sorry to leave you with some blue balls, Micah, but
you have to listen next week to find out.
Yeah.
In 3 months.
Yeah, we're doing too good a job of banking these up. So you're going to have to wait a very long time to hear how it goes. But how do you feel about the end of this part? And what comes next?
I think like Alex said, like this whole sequence is such a great way to sell the show. It is like if you like this, you will like the show. If you do not like this, it's not for you. But I don't think I have anything smart to say.
Andor, good.
Yeah.
Something we've talked a lot about is how this is not the best arc of the show.
I agree.
But I do think it is the best introduction to the show, in that they are setting up so many characters in a really economical matter of time. And they're giving us little hints of everything that's going to come up throughout the rest of the show. We're getting a glimpse of like the Imperial bureaucracy. We're getting a glimpse of the formation of the rebellion. We're getting a glimpse of the Star Wars space fight, shootouts that everybody knows and loves. And then by virtue of this not being the best act of the show, it's only going up from here.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is already incredible television.
Yeah. When you first asked me to come on the show, which I was very flattered, I just kept thinking of all these great arcs that I was like, ooh, I would love to do the prison arc, or there's so much stuff in season 2, or like the heist, the next 3 episodes. Like there's so many great arcs. I was like, the first 3 episodes, I don't know. But then I started rewatching it, and I'm like, oh, this is good. Like this,
it's much better on the rewatch than
yes,
the first time you watch it.
Yeah, I agree.
I guess this is something that we talk about like, but as writers, like, how do you sort of view the like conflict of trying to write something that is like sellable or entertaining versus wanting to sort of include that context or the stuff that we as writers think is so important to the context, but that often falls away for the need of narrative streamlining? Like,
I think that like it's really difficult.
Yeah.
And like I think, a show versus like say advertisements, like you have a more captive audience. If someone's sitting down to watch a TV show, you have them a little more, especially on streaming. So like I think you get a little more leeway than say, it's like I also work in advertising to an extent, and there you do not have a captive audience. You just have to like pull somebody in immediately. So there's tricks that I've learned from that kind of writing to like try and engage someone very quickly into a story. But I think a show like Andor or something that's very good, like you can't necessarily rely on that. You have to just trust that the story you're telling is good. I do think that Andor starts very well. Like I think it's very engaging. You guys talked about that in the first couple episodes. But I think, I don't know, it's very tough, and that's why most people can't do it very well.
And I think the number one reason this show is successful is because all of this is being positioned within the lives of the character. There is no character in this story who serves just to spout exposition. Every bit of world building that we're getting comes from a character interacting with that element of the world. So instead of like having a title crawl that just reads out the structure of Fremore Corporation and its relationship to the Empire, we have Cyril run into that wall and then not stop. And by seeing how hard he tries, we learn just how thick that wall is, as opposed to just having a character say, well, Fremore doesn't really care that much about anything, And the same thing is happening in this sequence with Luthen, where it's not Luthen just coming in and saying, I'm starting up a rebellion, kid, you want to join in? We're watching him tease Andor along and lead him to the rebellion. And in that process, we have so much more to discuss because there actually is like an emotional journey happening here that also touches on these salient political and social issues.
Yeah, I think that's a good point because, like, to your question, I think like some people would just rely on caricatures in order to get the context of their worldview or politics or whatever across. And I think if you really want people to buy in and believe it and like feel for it, you need to ground those people as people. And like Luthen is a great example of someone who, you know, I think most viewers will probably side with and say like he's doing good. He's doing, especially in the context of the show, like he is someone we can root for. However, he is a very complicated person.
Yeah.
His methods are often not salient. They're not good. And he has like a very rich history that has brought him to this moment. And I think like even if you don't put that all in episode 1, you can still write a character who has all of that. And of course we do get that eventually. But I think it makes a difference in believing what he's saying and believing that he believes what he's saying versus just, oh, this is what the writer wants me to think.
Yeah. Building off your point there, something I've really been kind of harping on as we've been going through this first arc is how much of a scumbag Andor is in this first arc.
Yes.
Like, he is running around, owes everybody money. His debts are coming home. He is out there sleeping with people's wives. Like, his ex-girlfriend looks down on him. His best friend looks down on him. His mom looks down on him. The only person who looks up to him is his old dog, Droid. And this is a person who is totally unlike the Cassian Andor that we see in. Like, when the idea of Andor prequel happens, everybody's like, why the fuck would you do that? And I think in this arc, we have created a character who is totally unlike the character that we know. But in this scene with Luthen, we see that Cassian for the
We also have the dramatic irony of knowing where he ends up.
Yeah.
And I think like that is one of the advantages of writing shows that have these large established lores, is that you can sort of play off the fact that the audience knows there's ironies, there is context that we could fill in to go like, oh, there's the audience knows something that the characters don't, and that is compelling.
Yeah.
As Hollywood sort of develops into just like reusing IP over and over again, I think being able to use that intelligently and use the fact that like, oh, there's context here that the audience will pick up on. There is sort of an interesting way of using that for narrative purpose.
Yeah, and that's what this show has done such a good job of. It's like this is what everybody this is what I wish every piece of IP content could do, of like deepening all of these worlds as opposed to just playing with the toys.
Hire us.
But on that note, we will call it for this episode of Andorks. Micah, do you have any plugs that you want to make to our adoring fans?
Yes. To all of your fans, again, thanks for having me on. This is a lot of fun. I do genuinely enjoy listening to the podcast, so I hope you do keep doing it for as long as it takes.
We're gonna finish.
We're committed.
Even if I have to handcuff Alex in a basement and force him to record, we will finish this show.
The only real plug I have is I wrote for this video game that is coming out next year called Rock Beast. It's a indie game, very narrative driven. It's kind of like a BoJack Horseman in terms of like art style and tone. It's very like dark comedy. You play as a band manager set in the 90s, and you take this band of anthropomorphic animals and you take them from a garage band to superstardom with all of the bumps along the road therein. It's a super cool game. You can wishlist it on Steam. I'm super excited for people to play it. It was very fun to write for. It's like my first real official shipped game. It's being published by...
No, it looks awesome. I'm excited to play it.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm going to badger all my friends into buying it so they make a sequel or something. But yeah, so...
You got to write for Iggy Pop?
I did get to write for Iggy Pop. That was...
don't bury the lead.
I like to call him my coworker whenever his music comes on. But yeah, no, it was an incredible experience. made by this small Polish company that with a lot of really talented people. The head writer on it wrote for like CD Projekt Red and did like The Witcher and Cyberpunk. So just getting to work with him was incredible. So would love to. Can't wait for that to come out and so people can play it and experience it for real.
We'll be sure to include the link to add it to your Steam wishlist.
I mean,
in the show notes.
To sell at a very basic level, the bass player is a bass.
He is a bass. And you know what? He's great. I love Carlton. He was maybe my favorite character to write.
How many animal puns did you personally have to write?
Honestly, like it was a large part of the job at one point. It got a little like exhausting and difficult. I was like, do I have any more animal puns left in me?
There's always more. I
thought I hit bottom and then I kept going. So
and then you kept digging.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to play it. You don't know when it is coming out yet, correct?
Just next year.
Just next year. Well, this episode is going to be amazing.
Is this like a Christmas Day episode?
This episode is going to come out November 23rd.
Nice.
So maybe by the time this episode is coming out, we'll have a date and we'll be sure to include that. But
either way, you can wishlist it now. We'll have the link in the episode description.
And on that note, we'll see you next week for part 4 of episode 3. See you later, dorks.
And dorks.
And dorks.